We're coming up on Earth Day, and we're here to talk about water conservation with the fastest man to ever hit the water, Michael Phelps. Michael, tell us about your Save Water campaign with Colgate and what you're trying to get people to do.
It's simple. Just really turning the faucet off, just not wasting water. The whole time while you're brushing your teeth, if you leave the water running, you're wasting 4 gallons or 64 glasses of water. Think about that. That's just, it's way too much. And it's something it's such an easy task just to turn the water off when you're not using it. It just makes sense. So, I think it's cool to be able to have something like this for kids, especially because to be able to put this on the faucet, on the stopper, and when the water's running too long, turns red, sends a message saying turn the water off, and you're able to just be conscious of what you're doing. I'd love for everybody to jump on board, and I know people have, because even walking down the street here in New York or walking through an airport, somebody will come up and say, I think of you when I brush my teeth. So our message is working. Hopefully we can reach more people, not just in the US, but also worldwide this year.
So let's move from the health of the globe and water to mental health back here at home. You've been speaking out a lot lately about post-Olympics depression.
Sure.
Can you tell us what that is and how bad it got for you?
It was after 04, after 08, after 12, 14. So a handful of times where I sunk into a pretty bad depression spell. And it's, as Olympians, you set 4 years to build up to this moment. And then after it's over, you're kind of lost in a way. You don't really know what to do, you don't know where to go, you don't know who to talk to. A lot of us do suffer from depression. And I think it's something that, nobody's really talked about in the past because we're supposed to be this big, macho, strong person that has no weaknesses, or, we're supposed to be perfect. And for me, I carried it along for so long and never really talked about it. And going into 2016, for some reason, I just decided to open up and talk about it publicly. And for me, ever since that moment, it's almost been, life has been easy, or easier, I should say, because I'm not holding all that stuff in, and I'm able to open up, and I feel comfortable talking about it. I think as soon as I opened up the first time, it's just been easier and easier to talk about the struggles that I went through. Just to be able to help somebody who's going through the same thing, because we know there are a lot of people out in the world who struggle from the same exact things. And it's okay to not be okay, right? Nobody's perfect. Everybody is going to go through the same exact thing at least once or twice in their life. We're all going to have struggles and hard times. And for me, the most important thing was really just opening up and talking about it, communicating about it, asking for help. I never asked for help, ever. And part of that was probably just a fear of rejection. But you know what? It's like, you never know until you ask a question. I wish I would have done this 10 years ago. But I wasn't ready for it. And for me to be able to go through that, if I can save 1 life, 2 lives, 100 lives, it's way better than winning a gold medal. So for me, it's fun to be able to open up and share the experiences that I have, because they are real. And I'm a human being, just like everybody else is.
Mm-hmm. And for people out there that might be surprised to learn that someone like you even suffers from depression, it got pretty bad, right?
Oh yeah, there was one point I didn't want to be alive. So for me, at that point, instead of going through with it and taking my life, I wanted to find another road to go down. I wanted to find another option to see if I could get help. And it's out there. And we're strong enough, and we have the tools inside of us to be able to get through any situation. You just have to open up and talk about it. I think one big thing for me is when I start isolating, I know I'm not headed down the right path. And as soon as I see some of those, it throws up the red flag, and I need help, or I ask for help, or I reach out to somebody I know I can trust to talk to, and you feel better. And I've gone to therapists, I've spent time in a treatment center. I'm now able to go through life with tools to help me if I ever find myself in a problem situation again, and I have. I know this isn't going to change overnight, I know it's not going to go away. It's going to be something I have my whole life, and that's okay. It makes me who I am, and I'm okay with who I am.
And now you're the father of 2 baby boys. How is having 2 little boys around the house different from having 1?
So different, so different. My wife keeps saying she's getting outnumbered more and more. It's been an experience with 2. I wasn't there month 2 and 3 with Boone's because I was training at the games, and then I came back and he was 3 months. So this is a new experience for me, going through this process with a 2-month-old. There's no sleep in the house. there's a lot of chaos. There's always craziness running all over the place. Boomer's in that phase where he can't sit still, won't sit still, just has to keep moving and playing. But the coolest thing is I get to do it with my best friend. So, you know, we get to go through this whole process together and learn through it together. After Rio, I was like, honey, what do I do? And she's like, I have no idea. She's like, we just figure it out along the way. And I think that's something that's pretty special to go through.
Between Boomer and Beckett, you guys have a tendency to pick pretty cool names. What do you look for in a name?
Well, Booms, we just love Boomer. And there are so many cool nicknames with that too. And then Beckett, we wanted to stick with a B name. That was one thing that we just were kind of set on, and kind of went through the list of all the names and kind of settled on Beckett.
And they have the exact same 3 initials
BRP,
too, right?
Yep.
Is there
So
a significance to that, or you just like the way it sounds?
No, honestly, because we both said that Nicole's dad was going to be Beckett's middle name. His name was going to be Beckett's middle name, and then Boomer's was my coach's middle name. So just a similar theme. But they both have the same initials, so it just worked out.
Were there any names that you liked that she vetoed?
No.
Vice versa?
I don't think so, no. I mean, Beckett was, I think, head over heels, just way, way far ahead of every other name that we had written down. And we had it pretty much determined probably by like, I don't know, 6, 7 months. Like, we got it done early. It was hard to keep it secret, though. That's like the worst. Because all your parents, like the parents and sisters, brothers are like, you can tell me, I won't tell anybody. And you're like, no, because if I tell one person, then the other one's going to be pissed. No, we can't do that.
So speaking of your sons, you have 3.3 million Instagram followers. Boomer is 1, and he's almost at 1 million. He's at around 800,000.
Yeah.
At this rate, do you think he's going to catch up to you?
I don't know. The growth has slowed down a little bit. I mean, he kind of really blew up over the games, over the Olympics. I mean, he was gaining 100,000, 200,000 followers a day during the games. I want to get him to 1 million. I'd really like to get him to 1 million. And then Beckett, we'll see when he gets introduced to Instagram. We have names.
So there's a plan.
We have everything figured out, but we haven't launched his first photo yet. But
Thanks to Instagram, we've seen you get Boomer in the pool. We saw you teach him your signature pre-race backslash.
He just started doing that. Honestly, like, I have no idea where he learned that. I just came home one day and he started doing the backslap in the middle of the living room, and I was like, you got to be kidding. So now every time we get in the water, I ask him to do it, and he basically does it.
Do you think it's just
every
in the
time.
genes somewhere?
Maybe. I mean, I started young, so I started doing that when I was like 9 or 10, so he's way ahead of me, so who knows?
Do you think they'll both be swimmers?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Just hoping?
If they want. You know, I was very fortunate where my mom never really pushed me and was like overbearing. She just kind of supported me through it, and I think that's the reason why I was able to have the longevity through my career. So I wouldn't want to put that kind of pressure on somebody. And honestly, I'd really love for them to just find out who they really are themselves. You know, I don't want to force them to do something they don't love, but if they do want to swim, great. But I'd rather them play golf or something. Like, I'd rather move away from the swimming pool. But if they love it, they love it.
And last but not least, there's a lot of Michael Phelps fans out there that want you to stage a comeback in 2020.
Nah, no
Nope.
way. No, I mean,
unequivocally no.
I mean, like, I could. Like, I mean, I think I'm in better shape now than what I was when I came back for 16. But I just don't. I have no goals in the sport anymore. You know, I have nothing else that really gets me excited to get me in the pool. So, you know, the biggest thing for me retiring was I wanted to retire on my terms and hang my suit up when I thought it was appropriate. And, you know, I think 20 years from now I'll be able to look back and say, I did everything I wanted to in the pool, and that's the only thing that I wanted. So
Now
I'm
you
happy
can just focus on those boys.
Yep, focus on the kids, and time to start that next chapter.
All right, sounds good to me. Thanks
Cheers.
for
Thank
talking
you,
to us,
for sure.
Michael.
No worries.